IMTEX Forming 2026, Asia's largest metal forming technology show to bring global industry leaders to Bengaluru. Asia's largest exhibition on metal forming and manufacturing technologies to feature over 600 exhibitors from 20 countries across 4 exhibition halls, covering a space of 46,000 square meters, exhibition space. Bangalore, the 8th of January 2026. Indian Machine Tool Manufacturers Association, IMTMA, will organise IMTEX Forming 2026 from 21 to the 25th of January 2026 at Bangalore International Exhibition Centre, BIEC, Bengaluru. IMTEX Forming 2026 will feature the following concurrent events: Tooltech, which focuses on machine tool accessories, metrology solutions, CAD, CAM tools, tooling systems, and the latest trends in tooling industry. Digital Manufacturing, which showcases real-time solutions in additive manufacturing and Industry 4.0 Weld Expo, in association with the Indian Institute of Welding, IIW-India, that showcases the latest welding technologies. Moldex India and Fastenex India, organized by Messe Stuttgart, focusing on molding, fasteners, and fixing technologies respectively, will be co-located alongside IMTEX Forming 2026. IMTEX Forming 2026 will also feature parallel events, such as International Seminar on Forming Technology, 9th edition, on the 22nd to the 23rd of January 2026, to explore new trends, equipment, processes, and technologies in metal forming and related fields. 12 Academia Square, a platform for research institutions to present their R&D initiatives to industry stakeholders. Jagrati IMTMA Youth Program to raise awareness about the latest advancements in manufacturing among young professionals. The forthcoming edition will feature exhibitor group participation from Germany, Italy, Japan, and Taiwan, showcasing the latest manufacturing technologies and innovations. Visitors from various sectors, including automotive and auto components, aerospace and defense, medical equipment, power, railway, construction equipment, general and heavy engineering, capital goods, electrical and electronics, white and brown goods, and many others, are anticipated to visit. Although metal forming currently accounts for 29% of the Indian machine tool market, the segment is expected to grow measurably in the coming years. In FY25, the consumption of metal forming machine tools was 9,139 crore rupees, while production was valued at 2,696 crores. Overall, metal forming machine tool exports increased by approximately 6% year-on-year. Among the exports, presses led the list, followed by press brakes, bending machines, and shearing machines, said Musmahini Kelkar, President, IMTMA. Laser and laser-based applications are finding increasing acceptance across industry sectors, and we have seen a steady increase in participation by laser-based manufacturers at IMTEX Forming. Exhibitors will display fiber laser machines, precision levelers, pick-and-place units, servo presses, machine production monitoring systems, welding and 3D printing solutions. IMTEX Forming 2026 will accelerate the manufacturing of homegrown products and their exports, said Mr. Jabak Dasgupta, Director General and CEO, IMTMA. The 5-day exhibition is a unique platform to further accelerate the adoption of digital transformation and high productivity solutions in manufacturing.
Manpower, which is the other way around. Okay. Automation increases the productivity, increases the market size, and creates employment. So it is like the computerization in India in the 80s. People were afraid that jobs will be lost. Correct. Because computers are coming in. They only increase the number of jobs, and automation is doing the same thing to industry today.
So when we are talking only in
Well, in terms of organizing IMTEX, everything is by hand. There is no automation, except perhaps something they may have some apps on their systems. But automation of production of metal formed components will be there on display, because for an industry productivity per man has to increase. So the repetitive work, the hazardous work, the heavy work is converted into automated operation, so that people don't have to use so much of physical effort. And
the IMTMA's vision is that we should at least aim to cover the domestic demand by at least 2/3, let us say 65-66% should be domestic. I also want you to recognize there is no country in the world which relies entirely on its own domestic production for these things, because there are some technologies which you can make in the country, there are certain things which are not viable, and there are only a few firms worldwide which supply to the rest of the country. So we believe that will also happen here. For example, if you take some of these, as Mr. Rangachar mentioned, if you take these large presses, they require 1 or 2 or 3 numbers in our country. Worldwide, you put together, there may be 100 or more, which are some 1 or 2 companies make. So it's not worthwhile economical for us to start producing anything and everything in India for the sake of import substitution. But there should be a judicious mix of what technology we need to import and what technology are critical, and we have to meet the internal demand internally. Our IMTMA vision is we should aim to get to at least 2/3 of the local demand we should produce.
Thank you. And the Indian government is very keen that all the machine tools required for producing defense components are made in the country, so that we are not subject to blackmail by any country. So even though it may not be economically profitable, but from a strategic angle, many of these machines have to be produced in the country. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg. See, if we produce a machine in India, there will be the demand in India and there will be the consumption. But somewhere we have to have a beginning. And so what China did for its machine tool growth was there was a lot of government support in the initial years to nurture the industry until it became of global scale or economic scale. And then they were able to stand on their own. Otherwise, fledgling industry with a very small production will not be able to compete globally, either in terms of price or in terms of technology.
What are these?
The machines which produce these armaments is the second priority. So first scale is to produce more attack guns, more of weapons, more of rifles, more of ammunition. So that's the first phase, because we need to arm our armed forces. Similarly, we need to build more ships, we need to build more fighter aircrafts. So even if they require imported machinery, the priority would be to increase the production of the defense equipment itself. The making the equipment in India would be strategic, but it would come after that. So more complex machines, 5-axis, 6-axis machines, very large machines, very large presses, very accurate machines, for example, to make the barrel of the gun. So equipment like this, or very, very fine grinding machines, which give you fraction of a micron. Now, those machines would have to be imported for some more time. Also, many of these machines are made by companies who have been in existence for 150 years. They have 150 years of experience and knowledge before they are able to produce these types of machines. So it's not very easy to just get drawings from them and then produce it here.
It is very specific and it is a niche. You cannot come and say that look at that applies to the entire industry as a whole, the machine tool industry and all that. So we don't get into that type of a very specific thing. We are not yet there. We are not there in at that level.
And to add to this, for example, the controller, the CNC controller for the machine and the drives, they are mainly imported. Now, there are only 2 or 3 companies globally who are the leaders in this. Now, what China did was to fund a university and industry to develop this locally. And majority of Chinese machines use their own controllers, so which is economic and which is also strategic. So some support like this is required to develop critical components like controllers, like drives, like ball screws, which are still imported because we don't have the production of the technology.
Machine tools, which is our user segments? You saw that 50% is your automobile and then construction equipment and then defense. So we have to study each of these users sectors and their growth projections when we think about what will be the market within India. So if those sectors are growing, suppose automobile currently consumes 50%, so that's the share. If it is not growing to that level, probably our estimation will be lower because the factor is pretty high in that case. But we see, if you see the other ACMA and other projections of these industries, they're pretty much growing very fast. They're doubling their production. They have a projection of selling a lot of vehicles, and there are a lot of production happening. So based on all factors, we calculate this data for the machine tools. So there is a correlation between the data that we provide and the growth of the industry. And also, as CPR told, we have to take into the GDP data, which also is a factor, because and the percentage, we have to bring a little bit of aspiration into that thing. Thanks.
Program, and we discuss about the projections, the needs, and all that, and we encourage the companies to go and make their own development programs, and they come and sort of give us a feedback about what progress they are making, their growth rate. We collect also the production and development data, what they produce. Quarter on quarter we collect the data and we track how their growth and movement in terms of whether order inflow or production, sales, exports, whatever. So I think there is a constant interaction with the membership, and so far we have been doing this exercise not for the first time. We have been doing this exercise over the last 15-20 years, and our projections have always been on track. Whatever we are projecting has been happening in the industry over the last 15 years.
Bengaluru we have a fairground which is meant to host this show. That is what I mean. IMTMA owns the place, so we do all our IMTEXs in this venue. And who is benefiting? The whole manufacturing industry will be benefiting, not only from India but also abroad. People are coming from, as you saw, all the countries. So here, what happens is first they see the trends in manufacturing. What is happening, suppose here in the metal forming, they will see what is the new technology, what are the new machines, they see it. Second is there are buyers who will do deals, will struck deals, and they will buy those. And then third is that overall it will help the local ecosystem to grow. I mean all of them will be benefited.
Exhibitions unfortunately cannot be taken around to various places in the country. It requires a very different infrastructure. It requires a lot of facilities, special facilities for the show to work, because the show is a live demonstration. Thousands of machines work at a time in the country, and at that point of time, for example, the power consumption is thousands of kilowatts. It is like setting up about 100 factories. One show, like exhibition like this, is like setting up about 100 factories. And it really, we have developed a technology to do that. Anybody and everybody cannot do that. For example, within about a week or 10 days, all these machines will have to be transported, will have to be placed in position, will have to be commissioned, and will have to be power supply connected, air supply connected, water supply given. So these facilities, so anywhere in the world, the machine tool technology shows are confined to very specific places.
So what is the
example is held in the same city every year. For example, if you look at Conexpo, the construction machinery held in USA, it's always in Las Vegas. You look at BOMA, it's always held in Munich. You look at the Hanover Fair, it's always held in Hanover. So international exhibitions of an industry are always held in one place. The large ones are always held in the same city year after year. And also, Bangalore is the major producer of machine tools in the country. And also, fortunately or unfortunately, Bangalore is a place where everyone likes to come.